if you were listening like me, you heard from the first reading today that all priests, this commandment is for you. You heard that, right? And then in the gospel, Jesus is talking about those who sit on the chair of Moses. That is the preachers, the religious leaders. So the homily today is for the priest, right? Nothing for you. I can just preach to myself today, right? Yes. Well, on Tuesday this week, oh no, we are now on Sunday, so it's last week now. October 31st, I remember seeing children going from door to door, trick or treat, and they were so excited. This year, I was personally very happy to see so many children moving around because, as I shared with some people, my joy is that it is a sign that, I can't say it now here, that the COVID is over, but it's not in this parish, right? And I hope it's over everywhere. But the joy is that children can now move around. We can now live our normal life everywhere because COVID is generally over. But why do children love Halloween so much? Mostly because they feel that joy of wearing a costume and putting their imagination into action, and then to make some people scared, to just scare someone because you just stand in front of somebody and they see reaction. They enjoy it, right? Why is that something that is so joyful to children? Because actually, the first time we discovered in our lives is something so fascinating in our lives was when we were between the age of 6 months old and 9 months old. When we discovered for the first time that actually people cannot read our mind. Nobody can actually know what is inside our mind. When we realize that we can actually hide something from somebody else. And then, so if you pay attention, you see children at that age, they love this game of hide and seek. So a child can hide behind like a microphone like this, and then they look to see if you can see them because they know that they can actually hide. And we grow up and we realize that, yes, it's true. No human being can read clearly what is in the mind of another person. No matter how we try, we cannot really know perfectly what is in the mind of other people. And that is what drives what we have today as movies. Today we have movies and people act different things, different people. And we have actors, we have comedians, we have so many people who make a profession out of that because, yes, nobody can actually read what is in the mind of other people. Psychologists have tried. They have tried with so many techniques, like the lie detectors technique, so many other techniques of trying to figure out what is in the mind of another person, how to gain access into the mind of another person. The one that fascinates me so much is the smile. Do you know that there are more than 20 ways of smiling? Yes. When you go home today, if you're hearing for the first time, Google it and see. There's so many ways we smile. And so each time we smile, we are either communicating what is truly in our heart, in our mind, or we are hiding something. So that is why sometimes, you remember those moments when somebody smiles and we feel like running away because we know there's danger. Yes, another person will smile, or even the same person, and we feel drawn closer to them. There's a smile that is like professional smile. We just show our teeth, we don't mean it, we just fake it, right? And there are sometimes there's a lying smile, there's an embarrassment smile. There's so many types of smiles. So again, check that and see. Our body language can reveal what is in the mind. But again, when Jesus talked about hypocrites today, he talks about religious leaders who will say one thing and do another thing. It is even more than just a human weakness. It is something that is intentional, intentionally living in a way that is contrary to what we preach to other people. So yes, Jesus reminds us today, especially we, the religious leaders, that we cannot pretend to be holy. It is dangerous. And that we should never lead people astray. And so look around today. Is this thing still happening? That religious leaders can pretend to be holy? Is it still happening in our own time? Yes. I don't know if you saw this in the news, but I remember about 2 months ago or so, I remember reading a news about a company in California that hired someone to pretend to be a priest and listen to the confession of their employees, and only for the employees to find out later on that he was a fake priest. I don't know if you saw that in the news. And if you check the news, just within this week also, I saw another news about 3 people who claimed to be priests, and they were baptizing people, giving sacraments, and in somewhere they call California in Mexico. I don't know which town is that. But check the news and see. So again, they were fake priests. So it is possible that people can intentionally decide to lead other people astray, claiming to be religious leaders. But again, that may sound like almost like fun in a way. But to some people here, so many people in the church today, this is even real, and it's more real for them in a way, especially those who are victims of clergy abuse. That a religious leader, a priest of all people, or bishops who everyone should trust 100% can actually live double life and deceive people, and not just like a one-time mistake, but something they intentionally live for a long time. So the pain is real. And what Jesus said here is still true in our own times, that religious leaders can lead people astray. They can live double life. Again, this does not mean that a priest must have to be absolutely perfect 100% before they can preach. It doesn't mean that they do not have human weaknesses. But what Jesus is saying here again is to intentionally live a double life and deceive people and to be hypocrites. And for those of you who are parents too, you don't have to be 100% perfect before you can correct your children, right? You may have your own weaknesses, but again, you can still correct your own children and show them the right thing to do. So it's not just about human weakness, but it is about the intention and trying to deceive God, or as if God does not see what is going on in our lives. So again, for us priests, I would say for me, I'm the only priest here, most likely. Before any priest is ordained a priest, we are first of all ordained as deacons. And if you attend the ordination of any deacon, you are going to you see the bishop handing over the book of the gospel, which the deacon read today. And the bishop will say something like this: receive the book of the gospel, whose herald you now are. Believe what you read, teach what you believe, and practice what you teach. Right, deacon? Okay. Yes. That is so powerful that, again, whatever we read and we preach on it, we must live by it. We cannot deceive people. We should never deceive people. And again, this applies to every one of us also. So do you know someone who lived a double life? If I ask you to make a list now, we may have a long list of people who lived double life. But again, the question for us is to look inside ourselves. Do I have something that I hide from other people? Do I have any dark side of my life that I do not want other people to know? Today we have people who are comedians, so happy, make everybody laugh all the times. But if you go to their personal life, they can be going through depression. We can have celebrities in Hollywood today who appear like the happiest people in the world. They make people admire them, but they are going through emptiness in their own lives. We may have some people who will be so wonderful outside. They're so nice to everyone, so charming. People love to be around them in their place of work, among their friends, but at home, they are the most difficult people to live with. Does that apply to any one of us? So again, if we have any of these issues in our lives, what should we do? What do we have to do? Simple. Because, first of all, we can pretend throughout this life and nobody may find out that we have something bad in our lives, some dark side, a secret in our lives. We may deceive everyone throughout life and nobody may find out. But as Jesus said in the Gospel of Luke chapter 8, verse 17, he says, on that day there will be nothing secret that will not be revealed, nothing hidden that will not be brought to light. So we cannot deceive God. God knows us more than we know ourselves. We cannot pretend in his presence. So the simple thing to do is go to confession. We go to confession, we say it out. Whatever is that thing that's within our lives, we say it out. Let the priest be our witness. We say it out in front of the priest in the confessional, and God will forgive us all our sins. He will give us another chance to move on. And I pray today that if any of us is wrestling with any of these issues today, that we have the courage to go to God, apologize to God, reconcile with him in confession, and again, he will give us another chance to move on with a pure heart.